You knew this was coming. You knew I was going to have to make a video on Tomi Lahren's PSA for men. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through the video here, and I'm going to point out exactly why she's getting the results that she is, and talk about all the points, all 4 points that she brings up in here. And I'm going to explain exactly why this phenomenon is happening and give you my take on this, on whether or not what is she saying, does it make sense? Does she have a point here at all or not? Or is this sort of a double standard? She does not understand what the male-female dynamics are in this situation. This is going to get hot and heated, so make sure that you watch to the end. If you guys are just joining me for the first time, I'm John from BulldogMindset.com. On this channel, I teach you how to be a man. I teach you how to build financial independence, how to get the physique you want, how to get the girls that you want, and how to go from the victim mindset to the bulldog mindset. If that sounds like something you are interested in, make sure you click the subscribe button, click the bell so you get notifications when the new videos come out. And also, guys, take the bulldog quiz. It's up here. It'll take you like 5 minutes. It will give you a score from 0 to 100 and tell you if you are a bulldog. All right, there's a link in the description below as well. All right, so we're going to jump right into this, and I'm just going to get right into her video. I think that's probably the best way to do this. So let's bring her up on the screen here, okay? And just even before I get into the video here, I just want to point out, you know, that the way that she presents herself, because this is kind of interesting, because a lot of the ire I'd say that she's getting is because she really presents herself in such a way on Instagram and in her, you know, in her appearance and just like with her selfies and everything, as just the typical, you know, young girl that is just, you know, out there. Oh, look at me. Okay. So she doesn't do anything to discourage that, you know, and you see that in her appearance and the way that she seems to be very, very self-conscious about herself, really very much, you know, about, you know, look at me here. Again, now this doesn't reflect on her opinions and what she does as far as political rants, okay? But you have to understand, the reason why I'm pointing this out at the very beginning is because a lot of what she's seeing, a lot of the way she's viewing the world has to do with the image that she's putting out to men into the world. And, you know, men read signals. We read signals, okay? And we see, okay, what type of girl is this? And we respond to the girl based on what type of girl that we perceive her to be, which is the signals she's putting out into the world purposely. Okay, so that's a good preface for this. So let's listen to see what she has to say here.
Final thoughts, and I do Instagram lives and I do rants about politics. There's plenty to talk about in politics right now. Do it every day. It's a great time. But something, as of recently, has been on my mind, and I consider myself a teacher, a helper, someone who could possibly inspire people to be better. So
I don't really see that. Again, not to really offend her, because it doesn't, you know, this isn't meant to be just a personal attack or anything, but she's a pundit who makes political commentaries and does rants. Now, she does it in a good way, in the sense that she has some really put together thoughts. She presents well, and I think that her points generally carry. But I don't know. Is she really, you know, what is the value beyond that? Is she really teaching people how to be better people, or is she just kind of fueling the anger and the rant that people, you know, I don't really see that as something that she does. I don't see any other things that she's putting out where she's educating people on topics and improving them and improving their lives. Okay, so that's, you know, that's why this is a little suspect from the beginning.
with that being said, this is a PSA for all the men out there and all the boys who think they're men, but they're actually boys.
So this is something that I think a lot of people I've seen on YouTube, a lot of guys in the men community really nailed her for, but I'm not going to, because I call a lot of men boys as well, because there are boys, okay? Now, her definition of what makes a boy is actually what makes a man. It's kind of funny. We're going to get to that in a little bit here, but there's no problem. I have no problem with that. Like, you don't just get to be a man, okay? You may be born with a dingling, okay? You might be born with the genetics of being a man, but you don't become a man just by becoming older, all right? This is something that a lot of guys, you don't understand. In fact, I get a lot of hate for at the beginning of my video saying I teach you how to be a man, as if I need to learn how to be a man. All I have to do is be a man to be a man. No, it's not true. Okay, you do have to learn how to be a man. All right, there's a lot of boys walking around and they've never learned. And again, can I go back in time and see where I was an adult boy? Of course. It wasn't that long ago, honestly, because we don't have the initiation rites that we used to have where boys became men, right? We've lost a lot of that in society today. In fact, the reason why we're going through such trouble in society today is primarily because of weak men. Weak men are the biggest problem in society today. We could call them boys. So I'm not going to attack her based on that. I think it's fine that she can make those statements. And a lot of guys said, oh, well, she's turning off her audience. And no. Okay. It's valid. What she's saying there is valid. Now, a lot of what she's saying is not going to be valid, but let's listen.
This is going to be the summer of canceling boys.
Again, I have to stop real quick here. The fact that she used the word cancel and canceling boys, that does disturb me, okay? Because buying into cancel culture in any way, the idea of canceling someone, with her political affiliations and what she's rallying against, that was a very, very poor choice of words. That put me, immediately on edge to say, okay, this sounds like some bullshit that's about to happen here, because she used the idea of canceling. Okay, so I will say that.
Personal experiences and the experiences of all of my friends, which range in age from 24 to 36. We've all got issues. Now, I will also say this. All of my friends are attractive. All of my friends are successful. All of my friends have something going on.
Okay, this again. Let's remember. All of her friends are attractive. All of her friends are successful. All of them have something going on. Them being all successful and have something going on, no problem with that. The fact that all of her friends are attractive says more about her than it does about what she's going to say, right? I mean, she's purposely associating with these girls. They're going to be very similar to her in this respect, and they're going to get a similar result in life, right? They have similar things going on. They also probably have a inflated view of themselves, which is part of the problem here, which you'll see.
Almost every single one of them have an issue with men. And you have to start looking at that and thinking, if an age range of that many people, including myself, living really all over the country and being blonde, brunette, short hair, long hair, tan, super white,
Where's the fat ones?
These women range in every body type and everything. They're all successful, they're all intelligent, they're all good people. But if all of these women, including myself, are having issues, then I have to think, it might not be us. It might be you. It might be men.
I think that's a pretty invalid assumption. Just because they're having problems, just because the world isn't like, this is the same argument that the MGTOW are making. Or is it not? Is it not the same argument, right? Where they're saying, okay, if we're men, if we're all having the same issues with women, okay, then it must be women. Women must be the problem with the world. Again, this is very victim mindset, right? I'm very surprised that she would embrace a victim mindset instead of pointing the finger to herself and saying, well, how can I deal with it? This is how men behave. How can I handle and deal with this situation? All right. And again, what we're going to see is it's not all men that behave this way. It's the men that she is interested in and her friends are interested in. And we'll get to that in a minute here. But yeah, I just have to point out that this is a completely the same message that MGTOW guys or feminists are saying, right? It has to be them. It has to be them. We can blame all. And, again, to look at her political standpoint, being a conservative Republican, for her to engage in identity politics, which if it's all men, it must be identity politics. Again, now she's canceled people and she's engaged in identity politics. Not looking so good.
Men. Now, I've often talked about the pussification of America and how men are no longer men. I talk to my mom about this a lot.
And this is true. Agree 100% there.
And she says, well, maybe it's just the guys in Texas. Maybe it's just the guys in Los Angeles. Maybe it's just the guys. It is not just the guys in Los Angeles, Nashville, Dallas, and they're not any better in the Midwest. They, quite frankly, I think they're trash all over this country in the age range of about 20 to I think about 55, maybe even 60. A lot of men are trash.
So what's ironic here is that she's right in the fact that men are pussies, okay, in general today. All right, that's one of the biggest things that I'm fighting against and trying to cure in this world. All right. But she thinks that the ones who actually aren't pussies are pussies, and that those are trash. Like she's the ones that she's calling trash. Again, you haven't gotten to the point in the video yet, I understand, but I'm just giving you a little bit of pre-knowledge here, so you can understand what's happening here. Is that she is seeing things through her lens, being an attractive woman who is looking for attractive men, the top high value men, and when she says, oh, all these cities, it must be the men, what she's looking at is male nature. She's looking at the male nature of top 5% men. Okay. And that's what we're going to talk about really in a lot of this video, which again, there's some learning points here to understand why top 5% men do this, how you can be a top 5% man, and how the tables are turned even on someone like this, right? Because remember, she's pretty hot. Okay. She's famous. She's definitely a desirable female as far as attractiveness for most men, right? Way better than what most men could get, yet she's having these problems. So how can you be that kind of guy? She's going to give you the formula actually right here. Okay. She's not doing what she thinks she's doing. She's giving the opposite.
A lot of men don't know how to treat women. A lot of men don't know how to really, quite frankly, pull their heads out of the sand and pay attention. So I am going to help you. And these are some of the things that I've experienced, and these are some of the things my friends have experienced. I'm just going to lay a few things out. They haven't all happened to me. Some of them have just happened to my friends. A lot of them have happened to me. So.
That's kind of weird. They haven't all happened to me. A lot of them have happened to my friends, but a lot of them have happened to me. So they've all happened to you. Okay, got it.
The first thing, and I've made notes, by the way. I've made notes.
Oh, good.
This is how invested I am in this, because I've been thinking about this for about 2 weeks solid now. First question for men. If you like a girl, if you're even somewhat interested in a girl, you need to ask yourself this question. Are you single? No, I don't mean are you kind of single, seeing 5 people, dating somebody, still kind of in a relationship, kind of broken up, kind of on again, off again, kind of married, kind of divorced. Are you actually single? That means single. You have nobody. You have no complications. You have no attachments. You are actually single. That is the first question, believe it or not, that needs to be asked.
So, okay, a couple things here. This is kind of interesting, right? First of all, the kind of guys that she's talking, most guys are single, okay? But those are not the top 5% of guys that she's after. If she's going to be after a top 5% guy, which she is, okay, you can see with her previous dating experience, okay, and what she thinks that she can command just by her looks, and she can command a higher profile guy. She's definitely going to be pickier, okay, which most women are. Most women want a top 5% guy. So this is why this complaint that she's putting forth here, she says all of my friends have the same complaint. It's universal and it's correct. It's a correct complaint, okay. But here's the thing: top 5% guy. You think he's single? Ever? No, not really. He's always got some kind of complication. Why would he not have some? Why would he not have some complication? Why would he not have some kind of relation? I mean, you think the guy is just, watching Pornhub and whacking it? No, he has some kind of girl. Because why? Because 90% of women are going after the top 5% of men. Okay, so he has selection. Okay, when he pulls up his Tinder, okay, it's like scrolling. Okay, that's how it works, because he's in that top 5% of men, because he's earned his way there. So for her to expect that a guy is going to be single and also meet the criteria of the guy that she would actually like to get involved with, that's like a unicorn. It's not going to exist, okay? Because there's no reason for it doesn't make sense. If you're a top 5% guy, some of you are, okay? You are not going to you're not going to be single ever. Why would you? Unless you had like a specific purpose of going monk mode, in which case you're not in the dating game. But as soon as you are, you're going to have access to a lot of girls. You're probably going to be seeing multiple girls at a time because you have the option to do it. Now, 95% of guys, this is not the case, right? If you're watching this and you're one of the 95% of guys, okay, and 95% of you are, well, probably less, like probably there's more, like 20%, probably 80% of you are the 95% of guys, if that makes sense, okay? Then you know that this is what she's saying is pissing you off, because you're like, I'm here, I'm single, right? I wouldn't lie. Like you don't even understand where she's coming up with this shit, because you it seems ridiculous to you. This is something that women do, and that's the second point. This is something that women do. Okay, you think that she's ever single? I don't think so. No, it doesn't make any sense. In fact, even if you're in a top 50% of women, are you ever single? No, there's no need for that. There's no reason when you can just literally pick up your phone and have, any number of men that you want. Now, they're not going to be top 5% men. They'll be in the bottom 95%, but I mean, maybe there'll be a few of the top 5% that'll be thrown in there from time to time, which will be the guys that, fall into that category of not being single, and then all of the other complaints that she has, they'll fall into that category as well. Okay. But this is exactly what women do. There's no way. I want to know when she has been single, right? It would be crazy to think that she would go some time without having some guy. And women in general tend to monkey branch, like to go from one guy to another to make sure that they don't exit a relationship until they have another one that they've set up. It's common sense. It makes sense if you're looking to make sure that you're always going to be, having your needs met in that way. Okay, so anyway, so her first point applies to the top 5% of men, which is everything that we look at from this video. You're going to see that it's coming from that lens. So let's move on.
And ladies, you should be asking it, because in 2020. It's not a given anymore that a guy that's actively pursuing you is actually single. So that's the first thing. The second thing.
And you can tell she's pretty damn butthurt about this, so this must have happened to her several times. But again, this is like a guy that has a lot of value is going to have, he's going to have options, and he's not just going to be single. It doesn't make sense. Okay.
That I think is very important, that men don't seem to understand. There are very few women out there, and I'm speaking from personal experience as well as from all of my friends and all the women, quite frankly, that I talk to. There is not a woman out there that wants to be your pen pal. She doesn't want to get your texts, your good morning texts, your good night texts, your random through the day texts, if they don't follow up with a plan to actually, here's the kicker, in person, hang out. Now, I know what you're saying. Oh, it's COVID. People can't hang out in person. This has not been a 4-month problem. This has been a 5-year problem that I've experienced with men, and my friends have experienced with men. Women do not want a pen pal. We don't want a texting pal. We quite frankly don't care if you text us all day or if you don't text us at all. If you're not going to make a plan to actually see us in person, not interested.
This is generally not true, but here again, I don't need to debate whether that's true or not, because women will definitely pen pal the hell out of a guy that they're not really sexually interested in, and they do enjoy that. They like having the admirer, right? So the orbiter. So that's definitely what she's saying is true in the sense that if she's actually interested in the guy, which will put him in the top 5% guy, then she doesn't want him to just text back and forth and to small talk her. She wants to meet with him, and she wants him to set up a meeting. Here's the problem, though, okay? And I can tell you exactly what this problem is. It's this. You go in and you look at your little, Tinder or your Bumble or whatever, and you're like, damn, all these girls, all these messages. How the fuck do I decide? I only have so many nights a week. Plus, I've got a job, or I'm running my business, and I've got these athletic pursuits, and I've got my purpose and mission in life. I don't know. I'm just going to message a bunch of these girls and see which ones are down. Okay, that's what the top 5% of guys are doing. Okay, so what's happening here, what she's complaining about, is what guys are doing when they have a lot of options. They have a lot of messages on their Tinder or Bumble, or a lot of numbers on their phone before the online dating. Most guys that are in the top 5% don't really need to do online dating. They're going to do it as an addition, right? But that just complicates things more, because they're getting numbers from girls that they like. They're matching with girls online, and then they can't set up a meeting with every single one of them. Okay, so what are they to do, right? They're going to pick which ones that they think are the most receptive, that are treating them in the most receptive way, okay, that they think are probably going to be the most down, most likely to hook up. That's in most cases, right? Because again, we're talking about top 5% guys. They're not looking to get locked down. They're not looking to get into a relationship. They're looking, if they're on an online app, or most of the time when they're involved with girls, they're looking to get laid, right? That's what it comes down to. And so they're not going to set up a date with every single girl that they're messaging, right? Now, the bottom 95% of guys are like, damn, if I could just get one damn Tinder match, I'd be happy. And I understand you guys, but that's not who she's talking to. And that's what's even so insulting about this, is that she's completely ignoring all of you guys that would be, single, and would be not just messaging her to have a pen pal, but would actually really want to meet up with her. And in fact, a lot of you guys are saying, well, I try to meet up with girls and they don't want to meet up. They never do. I message them and I set up a time and they fucking flake all the time. Okay. If that's happening to you, you're in the bottom 95%. Again, it's no shame in being in the bottom 95%. I'm just saying that she's going after top 5% guys and she's seeing top 5% guy behavior. And I'm telling you why that top 5% behavior of guys is what it is. It's what it is, okay, because they have a lot of options, because they literally have too many messages. And you could flip this and you can understand, okay, for you guys that are chasing girls that are top 5% of girls, or even, they don't even have to be top 5%, that are in the top 25% or 30% of girls. They are like a top 5% guy. They've got all these messages and they're going to flake on you, and they're not going to set up, and they're never going to message back. It's not because they don't even dislike you or because they're playing some kind of fucking game. It's that they literally just have too many messages, and sometimes they're just picking some guy at random because they're overwhelmed, not even judging by the best guy or the hottest guy or the guy they're most attracted to. They're just like, okay, well, I got to go on a date. Okay, this guy responded back and I happen to be online at the same time. Okay, let's do it. You see what I'm saying? So that's what's happening, okay? And you can understand that from looking at her perspective with the guys, right? The struggles that she's facing with guys is what you're facing with women, and the reason why is behind that behavior, okay? Why are they doing it? Because they're just overwhelmed with messages, because they have a lot of options, okay? Let's continue.
And if you do have a woman out there that just wants to be your pen pal, it's probably because she has a boyfriend or a husband or a wife or whatever. We don't want a pen pal. But that also leads me to my second point. This is going to be backwards for you guys. Make plans. Make a plan. Do not assume that you can text somebody randomly in the middle of the day, what are you doing? Or text them at midnight or 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or even just within hours of when you actually want to see them and think that they're going to be available. I personally, once I get home and I take my makeup off and I'm watching TV, I'm no longer interested. So if you didn't make a plan earlier in the day, or better yet, a day or 2 or 3 in advance, I'm not interested. I don't want to hang out anymore because that ship has sailed. Make a plan. I want to hang out with you at this time. It doesn't have to even be a date. I want to see you at this time. Are you free at this time? Or when are you free? I will accommodate my schedule to see you. When are you free? I want to see you.
So again, a couple of things here. One, she actually does have a good point here. Okay, this is not a bad advice for you guys if you're looking to set up a date. If you just randomly text a girl and she doesn't have very high interest, and you're like, hey, how about if I come over? How about if you come over? How about if we go grab a drink? And it's like an hour before. It's a very low probability move, okay? Because if you set it up for a day or two in advance, and then, what she said about taking off the makeup. You think she's gonna go somewhere without her fucking makeup on? I don't think so. You know how long it takes her to put her fucking makeup on? So okay, so there's some validness there that you can actually learn from. But again, we go back to Bizarro World and we look at the behavior of top 5% men. Okay, if you're top 5% men, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, and you know that what these guys are doing is that they are looking for a girl that, well, first of all, their schedule is too busy. They don't want to make plans and tie themselves up and and eliminate their options because they want to have the flexibility. But they're also looking for a girl that's ready to go now and that has a high interest. Okay, because they know they're going to close. Okay, so if you text a girl at midnight and you're like, "Hey, what you doing?" and she's like, "Oh, nothing." And then you're like, "Hey, why don't we go grab a drink? Or why don't you come over?" Or whatever. You know already at this point, like, and if you have a bunch of ones to burn because you don't give a fuck because you got 500 matches, all right, then yeah, you can just go through and just see which ones are down, okay? And that's what these guys are doing, okay? Again, can you really blame that behavior? No. If you have ability to do that and that's what you want, why wouldn't you do that? That's what they're doing. That's what, if you've ever heard of a booty call, that's what women do when they are interested as well. They'll send a text at 2 a.m. Now, it's not as often because they don't need to, okay? But every once in a while when they want to, that's what's going to happen. You're going to see that behavior. You're just going to see that from top 5% men all the time for the most part. Because why do they want to set up a date with you? Why do they want to set up something in advance? They don't need to because their schedule's already booked, okay? And they know what their value is because they have all these matches. So they're like, hey, if you want to, you want to do something, accommodate me. I'm not going to give you much notice. Again, is this a great strategy if you're looking to maximize the results that you have from, let's say, the girls' numbers that you have or the matches that you've had? No, it's not a great strategy, guys, if you want to actually like maximize that and you are willing to go on dates and stuff. But if you've got like 500 matches, fuck, might as well try it, right? Because one or two of them are going to come through and you're going to get what you want. You can just get more matches again. So that's what's happening here. And again, it doesn't make the guys trash. It just makes them smart and able to go after what they want because they're in the top 5%. Now, if you're a 95% guy, okay, which most guys are, this seems ridiculous to you, right? Like, you're like, no, I try to set up a date and the girls always flake on me. I set it up way in advance. I asked them, and you do the stupid move of saying, well, let me accommodate your schedule. Oh gosh, do that. Go ahead. See how that works for you. If you're a top 5% guy, it will work for you. Okay. Because she's going to want to accommodate, she's going to want to meet with you and she will, figure out a time. But if you're not and you do that, you're just going to appear even more beta and you're going to blow your chances, right? So that's what it comes down to, right? Is what she's talking about is behavior of top 5% guys. That's why you're seeing it happen this way. All right, so let's move on. I think I've said enough about this here, but hopefully you can understand the psychology of this, why this is happening. Okay. And again, it's ridiculous for her to be upset about this because it's specifically the guys that she's chasing. Okay. And again, I'm not blaming her for chasing top 5% guys. I'm just saying that if you're looking for guys that have a lot of options, that have a lot of going for them, that 90% of girls want, okay, then you're going to have to live by their rules. Okay. That's just how it goes. That's how it goes. You want one of these guys, you're going to have to accept these things because that's how they're all going to behave because it makes sense. Why would you behave any other way when you have a lot of options and you can get away with this shit? So
no, it's not rocket science, but men of 2020, it seems like it's pretty difficult for you to figure out. And I'm not a feminist, so please don't take this as a feminist rant. I love men. I think men are great. I think men have failed themselves and they've failed us. And I'm just trying to help you out because I think there are a lot of really great guys out there who need a little help.
Men are trash. I love men. Men are great. I'm not a feminist. When it suits you, you're not a feminist, but when it suits you, you are. And again, it's, this is like, she's obviously been rejected, obviously been spurned. Women cannot handle rejection. Okay. This is what you're seeing here.
I don't think that there are a lot of women that are stepping up and saying these things and not FaceTime me, I swear to God. Quite frankly, I don't think that there are a lot of women that aren't raging feminists, that don't look like Lena Dunham, they're saying these things to you. So I'm going to go ahead and say them because they need to be said. I am really so sick of my friends having to deal with trash men. I am tired of dealing with trash men, so I'm going to help you out. Make plans. So let's go through these lists again because I know y'all love a list. Number 1, are you single? Number 2, make a plan. Nobody wants a pen pal. We want to actually see you. If not, don't text us because it's a waste of our time and we don't want to see it on our phones. Got it? All right. Next thing. Value. Okay? Value. Take that in. Just repeat it to yourself until it makes sense. Okay.
Okay. I'll just repeat that to myself until it makes sense. I need to value some value because I don't value value. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I see. You want me to value the value that you consider to be value. Oh, I see. You want me to look through your eyes and what you consider to be valuable, that's what I should value. Well, that's fine. We should just turn it around then. And I want you to value the things that I value. Okay? Because let's say that I'm Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. Bottom 95% Nice Guy. I want you to value that I'm loyal and that I am a bend over backwards type of yes man guy, and I will do everything in my life to please you and put you on a pedestal. So I want you to value that, and I want that to be sexually attractive to you. Value some value, bitch.
If you want to date a girl that has nothing going on, then that's fine. But please do not mix in people like me and my friends who have something going on with your other girls that have nothing going on. And by nothing going on, I mean this. There is no job that is unimportant. There is no job that's not valuable or that's not worthy. It is. But if you...
No. There are jobs that are unimportant and that are not valuable. It's true.
You want to mix in people like me and people like my friends who are go-getters, who work really hard, who make their own money, who are talented, skilled, ambitious. Please don't mix us in with the Tatianas. We don't want to be there. If that's what you want, find them. Please, for the love of God, do not mix us in with them because we don't want to be there.
Wait a minute. You don't want to be mixing with the Tatianas. Okay, I get it. So, let me see. How do you present yourself? Do you present yourself as a Tatiana? If I were to go and look at your online dating profile, would it look like you're a Tatiana? I think it would, because I could look at your Instagram and I could see that, or I could just look at most of your Facebook posts and I could see that. And it does seem like you want to be viewed as them, but then you want all of a sudden for guys to recognize your value. Well, let me tell you, you don't get to define what value is in the eyes of the opposite sex, right? So what is your value to guys? Is it because you have a job and make your own money? No, not really. I'm sorry. It's just not. Don't really care. In fact, it could be a detriment for a lot of guys because, in fact, it's going to be hard because a guy really needs to be more successful than you for you to be attracted to him, unfortunately. That's just how it is. So you're kind of blocking out a lot of those guys. Again, that's why you're picking the top 5% of guys. Understandable, okay? But you've put yourself painted yourself into that corner. Now, what do guys find valuable in women? Do you not know? I think you do know because your Instagram and your posts online and the way that you present yourself and, the whole idea that you're never going to go out without makeup, it seems like you know what it is. Guys value how you look. They value how sexually attractive that you are. Okay, number one. Now, the second thing that they value, that's the thing that you missed. Okay, because you got the first one, but the second one is that they value how you treat them. Really, a guy values a feminine woman who's submissive and makes him feel like a king, treats him well, respects him. So, as far as a sex object, you have high value. As far as something more than that, pretty low value, because you think that the job and the making money, having an intelligent conversation, maybe there's some value in there for sure. Okay. And as a human being, those things are valuable. Don't get me wrong. Totally. Tom is a human being, totally valuable, really skilled at what she does, kick ass career, making lots of money, famous, those are valuable things as a human being. Probably some personal development in there, although it's kind of seems to be lacking here. But I'll give her the benefit of the doubt of being just, pissed off and bitter at the world right now because she got rejected or dumped or whatever. Okay, so those things are intrinsically valuable, but they're not valuable in the sexual marketplace, which is where she's trying to play the game. Okay, so she's presenting the wrong image, and she's being seen as a Tatiana, and then she's being valued as a Tatiana. Okay, if you're looking for guys that are going to value you on different terms, then you have to present yourself slightly different. Doesn't mean you have to look like an ugly hag, but it does mean that you have to look the part of what you're trying to present. Okay, and guys are going to automatically assess. They're going to look at a girl. They're going to say, they're going to say side chick or wife, right? They're going to say slut or mother, right? Like this is like that whole dichotomy that has existed in psychological literature for many years. Okay, the Madonna whore complex. All right, again, it's not a healthy thing. You should integrate that in your mind as a man, but this is the general way that women are going to be interpreted, and that is the value. We don't get to define the value. Again, like I said, we could flip the table. I know it sounds pretty unfair and pretty shallow to define a woman's value by her attraction, her beauty, but that's the way that the world works. Okay, and if we flip the table, like I said, and you said, well, what's a man value? Well, women are maybe sex objects, and men are success objects. That's, I think, a good way of looking at it is the status, right? A man becomes more valuable because he has status, because he has money, he has fame, he is a powerful man, right? Those things, that he's dominant, what we'd consider an alpha male, right? Those traits, which have nothing to do with being a good man. They have nothing to do with being loyal or kind or giving or any of those things. Women are not sexually attracted to those traits. Those traits are good as a valuable person and perhaps as a long-term type of partner situation, but a woman will give up those traits in order to find a guy that is the bad boy alpha male who she can get, who will just give her one thing, which is to just be with her. That's what she'll trade, and so that's what she sees as value. We can fight against that. I can say, women, you should see value as value, but it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter. So when she's complaining about men not seeing value as value, again, it's a problem of perspective here, and this applies definitely to top 5% men. They're not going to give a fuck. They're not going to give a fuck if she has a job or if she's successful or any of those things. They're going to care about what she looks like. So.
And quite frankly, we take it as an insult if we find out that you are also talking to 5 Tatianas who have nothing going on. People like me and my friends are going to be insulted by that. And there's almost really no coming back from it.
This is pretty egotistical. I mean, suppose that you message a girl on some dating app or something, and you're like, hey, I just want to make sure you're not talking to, any underwear model men or anything like that. You're not talking to any like Chads, are you? Because I would be pretty insulted if you're talking to some Chads as well. I'm just assuming that when you swiped, bright on me, that I'm the only one that you swiped on, or you might have swiped on some other ones. But as soon as we matched, and I opened you with my charming pickup line, that you just like deleted, unmatched all the other guys, and you're only talking to me, right? Isn't that true? Isn't that true? Isn't it? Right. So that's kind of the expectation that she has. It's kind of ridiculous. Again, for maybe about a 95% guy, hey, I think maybe that expectation could be valid. Maybe he's not talking to a bunch of Tatianas. He wishes he was, but he's not. He can't. So, but for a top 5% guy, you really think that he's not got something else going on? You really think that he doesn't have, like, he's just like putting all his eggs in the one basket here, of the bitchy chick with the career that like seems to think that she's some hot shit? I don't think so. I don't think so. He's not gonna invest that much from the beginning. Like, do you really want a guy that invests that much from the beginning? You don't want that guy, right? You don't want that guy. You want the guy that has a lot of options. Okay, it just upsets you that he does. And again, you're looking at the value system wrong. Okay. The guys are not looking at like, oh, well, this girl's got a career and all these things. Okay, maybe if he's looking to settle down or whatnot, then he's going to consider some of those things. But for the dating purpose, I'm pretty sure he's just like looking at which girls are hot. So, which is, can you blame him?
So if you want that kind of a girl, the kind of girl who's just kind of happy going through the motions of life, not really super ambitious, hasn't really found herself yet, doesn't really have a whole lot going on other than she's pretty, please just go after them. And please do not mix us in. We don't want to be there. I promise you. So value. There's a lot of women out there that I know that are my good friends who have amazing jobs, who work really hard, but who can't seem to find a decent guy, even if they go up in age 5 to 10 to 15 years, because those guys all want to be with 21-year-olds who have nothing going on.
Correct? Because they can. And so she's kind of just spelling it out for you guys here, if you haven't noticed that. She's basically saying, yeah, you know why the older guys suck? Because they have a lot more options. Because that's where the top 5% guys tend to be. They tend to be the guys that have been around for a while, that have worked on themselves, that have developed themselves, that have a lot of money, that have status, that have dominance and power, okay, that are masculine men, all right? Especially not coming from the current age of feminism that we have today. So those guys, and she's telling you right now, they want to be with, because they can be with, young 20-year-old girls. And so, she's complaining about that, but that's the reality. That's just how it is, right? So, what can you say? What can you say about that? Like, this is just how it is, right? And why would those guys, if they have the ability to do it, right? If you ask one of these guys, if you say, hey, why do you date like young women? The answer is going to be because I can. What other answer would you expect? So
it's very unfortunate. I don't think it's going to be fulfilling, but I would say to the men out there, try to maybe find a woman that you can talk to, communicate with, might actually have her shit together, might actually be ambitious and have something going on or want to have something going on. I don't care what she does. She doesn't have to be on TV. She doesn't have to be a PhD. She doesn't have to be a television producer. She doesn't have to own her own company, but be ambitious and have something going on.
I think this is generally good advice that she's giving here. I think that's not bad. Like if you're looking for a longer term thing, if you're a guy, again, I would advise like in your 30s or so, and you're like, okay, I've been around the block, I've met a lot of girls, I kind of know what I'm looking for now, then sure. Then maybe now you're like, okay, I'd rather, 21-year-old girl that's, really hot or whatever. There's a lot of them. I've seen a lot of them, maybe someone 28, 29, 30, something like that, that's a little more mature, that has a little bit more going on, knows herself a little bit more. I don't know if she has to be like successful in the sense of being like ambitious like a man and having a successful job, but at least like ambitious in the sense of improving herself, developing herself, has a little bit more experience in life, and is someone that you would maybe get along with a little bit better. I think that's some decent advice. Okay, so let's go.
Those women out there are going to be a lot more fulfilling to you. You're actually going to enjoy your time. And if you actually might want a sustainable and healthy and stable relationship, that's probably the kind of girl you're going to need to find. Not the Tatianas who just want to look cute and post Instagram stories.
Okay. Which is, I don't know. I mean, that's what she does. So I don't know how to take that.
Now, I love a good Instagram story. Y'all know I do. I love a good boomerang. I love a good whatever. But if that's all you do, men, if that's all she does, probably Houston, we have a problem. I'm just going to let you in on a little tip. The next thing on my list is this: consistency. It really does not help me or my friends or any woman in general if you are really cool and you're really interested when you first start talking to them, and then give it 3, 4, 5 days, and all of a sudden you're not consistent anymore. You don't make plans. You don't really care. You kind of fade in and out. You're talking to 5 other Tatianas. Consistency is important. Now, if you want to be inconsistent and you want to ghost and you want to fall off the radar, that's fine, but I'm going to give you a pro tip. People like me and people like my friends we aren't going to really give a shit after that. We don't really care. The F's have been given. And
it does seem that you do still care and that you do give a shit. It does seem that to me. Okay. I think there's some validity in saying that, hey, once the potato's not hot anymore, then, no one's going to eat it. Okay. That's fair enough. But, again, going back to the top 5% guys, right? This is kind of the theme of this, and understanding it through this lens. It's the only way to understand, this experience of a famous hot girl on television who's complaining about men is funny. But basically, okay, if you're one of these guys, all right, what are you doing? Okay, you message a girl, maybe even set up plans, go on a date with her, but you're going out with a lot of other girls. You have a lot of messages. You have a lot of shit going on in your life. The consistency, it's not going to be there, right? Like, are you chasing this guy? Because if you're not chasing him, if he's not getting the signals, like a guy that's of value and that has all these other girls that are chasing him, he's not going to really go after a girl that's not responding. Because I think one of the first things to learn, and this is an important lesson, guys, is if a girl is not showing a high amount of interest, AMS will back me up on this one, you should probably cut her loose. Because you can make it, you can change it around, but why? There's a lot more options out there. Like, look for the girls that have the high interest and stick with the girls that have the high interest. It makes the most sense, and even if they're not the hottest, unless you have some dime that you're just like, okay, but if you're a high value guy, you're not going to worry about that, right? Because you're going to have so many options that it's not going to be a problem. So yeah, so what she's describing makes sense. It's consistent with being a high value guy. Is that, yeah, why would he constantly be texting you and chasing you? You just said stop texting and whatnot in one of the other lessons. So this is how this works. This is why this happens. And again, it happens the same way with women. If you've ever been trying to communicate with a very attractive woman, she's got a lot of options and she drops off the radar and ghosts. Why? Again, probably because she's got a lot of other options and she's got a lot of other guys, and some of those guys are pursuing harder or better, and she prefers them, or she just doesn't have the time, or she's overwhelmed, or she was just having some fun, right? And that's what you're going to see with these guys. You're going to see this all the time. And again, if you're one of the 95% and one of the average guys, okay, then you're not understanding this, right? Like, you're like, this is bizarro world, because what she's describing is what actually happens to me, not what I do. I keep on texting her. She doesn't text back for like 3 days and she drops off the radar. I'm like, what happened? She flaked on the date, or we went on one date and then I tried to set up another one and she didn't respond. And this is why, right? It's because she's doing the exact same thing. Okay. But if you're one of those high value guys, then, you're gonna have a different experience. Now, I have to say, guys, also with this whole thing, I want you to be a top 5% guy, and you can be a top 5% guy. Okay, it is totally possible. It's so easy to do today because so many guys are just lazy shits. Okay, like, she's right that most guys are pussies and trash. But she's got the wrong group. What she thinks is the pussy and trash group is the top 5% guys. Okay, the real pussy and trash group is the not top 5% guys in general. Most guys. So you can become a top 5% guy. Okay, this is one of the things I teach. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, like I said, also hopefully you can see how valuable it is. Okay, because you can have a girl like this losing her shit over you, if you're one of those guys, and you can become one of those guys. Believe me, I know. All right. Now, here's what you can do if you want to accelerate this. Click the link down below. In fact, there's a link up here in the card, $7 trial to the Bulldog Mindset membership. I have a lot of information in here it's all about becoming a top 5% guy. Honestly, like, if we had to describe really what it is, okay, it's about becoming an alpha male. I teach you how to build financial independence, okay? How to build an actual business, invest in real estate, become retired young, all right? I retired very young as a multimillionaire, okay, from old thing. I show you exactly how I did it, all right? Fitness, all right? I used to be fat, used to be lazy. We can throw up the fucking image here and you can see. And I now have six-pack abs. I'm ripped. I'm running an ultra marathon, training for a 100-mile race, okay? I give you my diet plans and all that stuff. All right. And then in the dating side, again, I was super shy. I had no success there. I show you exactly how to handle all the situations as far as dating, as far as escalation, stuff that I can't really say on YouTube here in the bedroom type of stuff. So you can be that kind of valuable guy. That's how you become a top 5% guy, is you build up your status by building up your life and having a purpose in your life, becoming productive, right? Really understanding what it means to be dominant, to be a masculine man. So again, there's a link up in the cards. Click the link below as well. If you want to join up, $7 for the first month. And then after that, if you don't want to continue the membership, you don't have to. You know, most guys do choose to. And plus, there's a huge community, Facebook group. We have a Discord server, live Q&As where you can ask me questions face to face every single month. Lots of cool stuff. So go check it out, and then let's continue with the video. But I just wanted to point that out, guys, because this is really important to understand that, like, the value of being a top 5% guy is huge. It is ridiculously huge. Okay.
We're kind of done. I'll tell you this from personal experience. Once I'm turned off, I am turned off, and I don't care anymore. Because at one point, I probably did care. At one point, my friends, they probably did care. They probably did like you because you expressed interest, and maybe you were cool, and maybe you were kind of fun to hang out with. But if you're not consistent and you fall off the radar, I give you maybe 1 to 2 chances to fix that, because I'm a very direct communicator. Women, this is important. I will communicate to you. If your communication isn't great, I will let you know that. I will let you know that more effort is needed. But if you don't heed that warning, and I have to warn you twice, I'm done at that point, because I don't really care anymore.
I guarantee you, if a chick is chasing you hard, okay, and she's really into you, and you flake on her, she's going to be chasing you harder. And if you come back, all right, she is not going to be getting over you. She's look at the video. She's making a whole fucking video about some dude. I mean, obviously this is about some dude, okay, or maybe like multiple ones that have happened to her recently. So this is just goes to show what she's saying here is kind of bullshit. I mean, yes, you know, a high value woman that has access to high value men could potentially, you know, say, you know, fuck off. But if you're considered really high value, and you've demonstrated that value, she knows it, and she's hooked in, the more that you like push her away and do the dickish kind of shit that she's complaining about, the more that she's going to just want you more. Not saying that you should do some of that stuff on purpose, again, but she's wrong there.
Now I'm done. Now I don't care. And I know my friends who are watching this are thinking and saying the same thing, because we have these conversations on an almost daily basis. Once you turn us off, we don't care anymore. So let that be a warning to you. You're probably not going to circle back. They always come back. They always come back. But when you're ready to come back, I probably don't care anymore. So if you want to switch up, stay there. Pro tip. My last thing on my list is also very important. Don't be, excuse my language, don't be a bitch. Don't be a bitch.
Okay.
Don't be a bitch.
Like that. Don't be a bitch.
If you have then failed and you lost a woman of value, like myself or my friends, and then we don't really care anymore, don't be a bitch. Don't be butthurt. You did it to yourself. Okay? And it's no longer my problem. Now it's become a personal problem of yours. So don't be a bitch.
Okay, this one I have to agree with her about, all right? Don't be a bitch. Fuck. Gosh, guys, like, just get over it, all right? If you fuck it up, I don't know, like in this case, it doesn't sound like you're fucking it up if you're a top 5% guy, and you're probably not going to be a bitch about it, but don't be a bitch, right? This more goes for guys that aren't in the top 5% guy yet group, which again, click down below, become a top 5% guy. Believe me, look at my fucking story. Trust me, I will show you how. All right. But if you get rejected by a girl, stop being a bitch. Just move on. Just improve yourself. Get over it. Stop. Don't be a bitch. Don't be butthurt. Don't be angry. Like, I don't know how many girls like that I have talked to that, you know, that they tell me, they're like, oh yeah, these guys are like message me, and then they get all upset because they don't respond, and they start calling me a bitch and complaining and saying nasty shit. Don't be that guy. It's so fucking stupid, okay? If she ghosts you or she's not responding, just fucking ignore her and go on with your life. Do not be a bitch. Like, she might be testing you to see if you're a bitch. She might like be leaving you on read for 2 days to see as a screen if you're a bitch, and then you turn out to be a fucking bitch. Just, who cares? Like, you actually have to be of high value. You cannot fake this shit. All right? So she's right on that.
And by the way, if I'm no longer interested because your effort is shitty, that's not me being a bitch. That's not me being difficult. That's me having a standard in which I expect from people. I do have high standards and high expectations. My friends have high standards and high expectations. Do you want to know why? We've worked for those. Okay? We work hard. We're successful. We take care of ourselves. We try to look cute. We have a desire to be something more each day. Okay? That's why we have the ability to be somewhat what you call difficult. It's not difficult. We just have a baseline standard. And if you can't meet that standard, that's okay. A lot of men cannot. But if you are one of those men out there, and I have them all over my DMs, sometimes I check them, and you guys are like, what would it take to be with someone like you? What would it take to be with your friends? What are girls like you? What are they looking for? I laid them out for you very simply there. In order to have a shot with a girl like me, or girls like my friends, girls that are worth a damn, you don't really have to be Brad Pitt. You don't have to be famous. You don't even really have to make a lot of money or have a really fantastic job. You just have to be determined. You have to be in some way successful in that you want to attain some certain kind of success for yourself. You're driven. You have goals. You can handle a woman with standards. That's not going to turn you off. And you're going to put in the effort to...
And here's where she's kind of lying, right? Like, I don't think she realizes she's lying here, but she doesn't even see the guys that are not in the top 5%. She didn't even see them. So she's just talking about if you're already in the top 5% and then you want to be with a girl like her, this is what you need to do as well, which is not really true because she's still going to be chasing these guys. And this is what she would wish that you would be, right? But if you were these things, then you probably would not be a top 5% guy, and she wouldn't be interested in you. So it's sort of a catch-22, right? The fact, like, where she's at, that's where you want to have women at that are interested in you. That you want them to be like this, to be upset like this, like to be really on the edge, right? Upset with your behavior because they're trying to buy more of your time. They want more of your time. Okay. That's when she's a very high interest. So whatever guy that she's, upset about here, this guy is doing it right. All right. He's got her. Now, again, I'm not saying be a dick. I'm not saying be abusive. I'm not saying any of those things. I'm just saying, like, you have to keep the interest, which means that you're not always available. Okay. It means that you might be talking to some other girls. Okay. It means that you are not necessarily going to be consistent. You're going to be somewhat inconsistent, okay? She's going to be wondering if you're going to text her or not, okay? And that, that your value is going to be based on what you perceive as valuable, not what she does. That's the key. So she thinks she's saying the right thing here, but it's not true. The guys that are DMing her in her Instagram, they have no shot.
Be with somebody like myself or my friends. We deserve that. And we will not compromise our standards. I tell you this, it will be a cold day in hell when I chase a man. And I know that's the same thing for my friends as well. And if my friends are listening and they're thinking about chasing a man, please, for the love of God, do not. Because there is not one single man on planet Earth, okay, that is worth making any woman feel like she is not good enough. I don't care how hot a girl is, how smart, how successful, how rich. We have all dealt with men who treat us like we are not good enough. No, the problem is we are too enough and you can't handle it. So
yeah, that doesn't seem to be the problem. The problem is that you're not good enough, honestly, like in that case, because if you were good enough, you would win over the guy. The problem is you don't want to win over the guy. Like, you want him to win you over, which, again, there's some, there's definitely the impetuous on the man to make the first move. Okay, that's the job of the man, to win her over initially, to basically get the interest of the woman initially. That's the masculine, that's the man's role. Okay, but once that happens, okay, because the woman is the garter of the initial interaction. Okay, she's the one who says yes or no. She's the one of value in that area, right? Because she has the selection. Then it flips. Then the power dynamic flips. Then It becomes a woman's role to essentially chase the man, to lock down the man if she wants to lock him down, to provide him enough value for him to say, hey, this girl is better than just sex. She's better than just being attractive. She actually has some value. She knows how to take care of a man. Okay, because that's the next thing that he's going to see is value. Or, she's actually kind of intelligent, someone who I could share some plans with, someone who could aid me on my mission in life and would make my mission better. That's the things that are going to appeal to him. And if you're not doing that, if you're not showing that value, if you're not treating him like a king, if you're not chasing him to some degree, again, chasing is not exactly the word, but it's the woman's job then to pursue the advancement of the relationship. And it's the man's job to say no. He's guarding that pass, or yes, I will let you through. Okay? That role flips. And so if she doesn't want to do that, a guy of value is not going to put up with that. He's going to say, you're not worth it. You're not worth the time. I'm not going to fucking go and chase. Like, I already got the date where you've already seen, you've had the opportunity to know of what kind of value of man I am. If you want me, if you want some kind of exclusivity, you're going to have to prove it. You're going to have to come after me. You're going to have to show me that you're worth it, because I'm a man of value. I don't have time for this shit. I'm not desperate. I don't need to go and chase a girl. I don't need to do that. So again, this is what it comes down to, right? She's got to realize that this is how she's going to get a man that's actually valuable.
Those are my checklists. Again, I will go through them for you one more time in case you are just tuning in. Number 1, are you single?
Okay, so we don't really need to go through this again here. I'm going to wrap this up. We're over an hour here. So let's just talk about here what I promised you, which is that I was going to give you kind of what you can learn from this in a lesson and what you can do for this. Again, like I said, I'm going to plug the Bulldog Mindset membership again, because I think this is really valuable for you guys to join it. So there's a link down below, also in the cards here. I'm not going to go over all the reasons again, but basically the goal of Bulldog Mindset is to make you a top 5% man. Okay, and you're going to do this by focusing on those multiple areas of your life. It's very, very key. But here's what you should learn from this. Okay, first of all, as far as the value of being a top 5% man, if you're a top 5% man, look how you can flip the tables on women. Everything that she's describing here is what you would think as typical female behavior. And it is. It's typical female behavior. It's atypical male behavior. It is top 5% male behavior. When you are one of these guys, then you can deal with these kind of fun problems, because they are kind of fun problems, because it means that you have a lot of selection and you've got girls that are fucking famous that will make a video specifically about you because they're so butthurt and so crushed by your rejection of them or whatever is going on with this drama here. So that's a pretty powerful place to be. So that's why you want to be there, right? You don't want to be in the bottom 95% dealing with this, because you're not sliding into her DM and being a nice, loyal guy and meeting all the items on her checklist. Okay. First of all, second of all, don't even worry about meeting some items on the fucking girl's checklist. If you're worried about that, yeah, sorry, I can't help you. All right, you're already fucked. Okay. The second thing I'll say here, just in general, is what you can learn about this is how females act. Okay, everything that she's describing here is how top 5% males act, but it's also how just about every female that you're attracted to will act and why. Okay, I've outlined exactly why these men are acting this way. Okay. And why that it makes them high value. It demonstrates they are high value, but those exact same things apply to women. Okay, every woman is acting the same playbook that she's complaining about that guys do. Okay, I'm not saying this to be angry at women, or you shouldn't be. Okay, if you're a top 5% guy, you're going to enact this script. If you are a woman of any kind of value in the sexual marketplace, you're going to enact this because you have the power to do it. All right, so when you are interpreting women's behaviors, look at it through this lens. Think about what I just talked about here, about what a top 5% guy would do and what you would do if you had all these Tinder matches, if you had all these women that you had to choose which one you were going to go on a date with, and you had to choose which one would be the best option for you to pick, right? That's exactly what women are doing in your life.